Welcome to the OP12 Blue-Yellow Nami deck breakdown, where we're going to be going over the leader, her deck list, starting hands, card options for the deck, her matchups, and we're going to look over the curve of the deck, and then we're going to cap things off with some gameplay to show Nami in OP12 with some new OP12 cards. So if that's something you're excited for, stay tuned. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Card D Kaizoku.
This video is brought to you by Adakai TCG. Shop the latest in premium holographic textured custom one-piece cards. Designed for collectors, crafted to stand out. Use code Kaizoku for 15% off your next order. This video is sponsored by gumgum.gg. See Western OP11 list and Eastern OP12 list on gumgum.gg. Updated daily. Be the first to see decks for new leaders as they emerge. With over 1,000 deck lists per set, gumgum.gg has all the top strategies as soon as they drop. This video is sponsored by Card Market, Europe's largest online marketplace for trading card games. So OP12 for Blue-Yellow Nami, we're going to do a proper one this time. Yeah, a little bit of context. When I did my OP11 Blue-Yellow Nami deck breakdown, I didn't realize freaking Starter Deck 22 wasn't going to release for us until like September. I thought it was going to be out by the time OP11 is out because that's what it was like in Japan. But it's not. And even right now in English, I do think like OP12 is going to come out in August. Starter Deck 22 is not going to come out until September, but there's at least a date we know in September. So I'm just going to include those cards in this deck for now. But yeah, Blue-Yellow Nami, what she does is on your turn once per turn, this effect can be activated when a card is removed from you or your opponent's life cards. If you have 7 or less cards in your hand, you draw a card. So this counts when you take a life or when your opponent takes a life when you attack into them. And 7 is a stupid high threshold to meet. You'll be able to draw so many cards with this effect. And then on top of that, down times 1 on your opponent's attack once per turn. You can trash 1 card from your hand. This leader gains plus 2,000 power for the entire turn. So Nami becomes a 7k base on defense, but you do need that 1 Dawn attached to the leader to get access to this effect. And also this cannot be used to save your characters, so it just incentivizes your opponent to kill your characters instead. But yeah, Blue-Yellow Nami historically doesn't really have like a dedicated package for her deck, right? It just seems as the new sets release and there's new blue and yellow cards, if they're good, they make it into the deck. It's kind of just a shove every good blue and yellow card in the meta into this kind of deck. That's the kind of playstyle that Nami is at the moment. I personally would have liked a dedicated Straw Hat deck for her, but yeah, it's still a fun deck because of that kind of good stuff nature of it too, right? You're always refreshingly playing new cards every meta. But let's take a look at the deck list here. 3 Starter Deck 3 Trafalgar Law, 1 cost 1k power blocker. Just a chump blocker. This can be any 1 cost blocker. I believe there's like a Vista coming in the same starter deck as Odin. So if you don't have any Starter Deck 3 cards, yeah, just wait for that Vista. Right, here he is. 4 OP03 Nojiko, 2 cost 0k power 1k counter. So on play, if your leader is Nami, you can bounce a 5-drop to your opponent's hand. Only Nami can run this, so it's either this Blue-Yellow Nami or the self-mill Nami, so might as well get the advantage of playing a leader's locked card like this. And yeah, 5-drop for 2 Dawn being answered is really efficient actually. Nojiko is really great at stalling your opponent early on, allowing you for a smoother transition to your late game. And it combos really well with the pudding too, which we're going to go over in a second. 4 OP06 Kozuki Hiyori, 2 cost, 0k power, 2k counter. On play, you can add the top or bottom card of your life to your hand, and then if you do this, you can add 1 card from your hand back on the top of your life. So this counts for your leader ability actually, so it's like you're drawing a card and also setting up a trigger potentially. There's not too many in my particular deck, besides like the event cards actually, now that I look at it. But yeah, Hiyori is just a way to draw early on, and then something you can bounce back to your hand with the Odins or the Jozu later on too. It's basically cycling a card in your hand and then drawing a card too on top of that. But yeah, since we're able to turn any of our non-counter cards into 2k counter, we do run quite a low number of counter. As you can see, we run 8 total here, and Hiyori makes up 4 of those. Speaking of, the other 4, 4 OP11 Zeus, 2 cost 2k power, 2k counter. On play, you can add the top or bottom card of your life to your hand. Again, this makes you draw a card afterwards too. You can key up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. This is, again, another tool to slow down your opponent. You have 2 ways to deal with the 5-drop for 2 Dawn. The life penalty is usually worth it in the very beginning if you're killing key targets like 5 cost Cavendish, Smoker, the 4 cost Luffy and Rayleigh. So a lot of key targets that you want to kill with the Zeus. And you'll be healthy enough with your leader ability to take that life penalty. Even leaders that don't have that defensive leader ability run this card, so yeah, it's a no-brainer. 4 Starter Deck 17 Marshall D Teach, 2 cost 3k power, 1k counter. So kind of a weird pick, but it actually makes a lot of sense for this deck, a lot of synergy with it. Especially for my version, so we'll go over it in a bit right now. So what he does is you can place 1 card from your hand on the top of your deck, and then after you do this, you can put 2 rested Dawn cards onto a leader or character. So yeah, most of the time you put it on your character. This gives you that 1 Dawn you need for your leader ability on the opponent's attack part to give yourself plus 2k when you discard a card. And normally, yeah, the fact that you're putting a card back on top of your deck, if your opponent takes your leader hit, you draw that card back anyway, so it's like a net neutral in terms of card advantage in hand. And then again, you get to make your leader a 7k. So only upsides playing this card. In my particular list, I do combo this with a 9-cost Sanji, right? I have additional synergy on top of just my leader ability. I know there's going to be like a promo, like shoujo card later on from that One Piece love letter. Is it an OVA? No, it's like a special episode. That could replace the Teach, but the fact that I'm running the 9-cost Sanjis, I still prefer having the Teach over that card. But that card does give you Dawn on leader. We'll go over it in the card options section later on. But yeah, just in the late game, you're just able to put any card in your hand on the top of your life to cheat out with the Sanji is why I like this Teach. On top of it, activating our leader ability. And it's a 2-down investment early on, so it's great for that. For OP06, Charlotte putting 4-cost 4k power 1k counter. So on play, your opponent shuffles their entire hand back into their deck, shuffles it, and then draws a new hand of 5. This is really massive disruption against a lot of decks. Stuff like Blue Kuzan, Purple Luffy, Purple Black Luffy, they go really big in hand size because they play so many searchers. You just play a pudding and ruin their day. You're usually knocking out like 3, 4 cards even sometimes. Really great into Blue Purple Luffy too. Right, if they have a bunch of counter events in hand and a bunch of Dawn up, you play pudding, they could potentially not draw any of those back. And then, as we mentioned earlier, we combo this with the Nojiko just because, like, on our 6th Dawn turn, or even like early on, like if you Nojiko bounce something back to their hand, it makes their hand more vulnerable to a pudding, right? You bounce their troublesome key like card like that Cavendish we mentioned earlier, play pudding, they have to shuffle it back into their deck. Maybe they don't draw it back, so they just lose Cavendish and then they develop nothing for the turn. So yeah, just a really strong disruption tool, just due in part to the fact that it exists and everyone knows that Nami runs this card. They'll like counter inefficiently, like they'll over counter cards really early on just to keep their hand full of cards that they want to keep safe. For OP10 Cavendish, 4-cost 6k power. When attacking, once per turn, draw 2 cards and trash a card from your hand. We're able to safely run this card even though he has no counter, just because we can turn him into a 2k counter for our leader. And yeah, every turn that he lives, he draws you a card and helps you cycle too. So yeah, great value package for 4 down here. And swinging 6k is really relevant in the current meta, just because Green Purple Luffy is a 6k base, Blue Purple Luffy is a 6k base, so just being able to actually hit them without any Dawn investment is really nice. For OP11 Nami, 5-cost 6k power, 1k counter, it's a blocker. And then on play, if your leader is multicolored, you draw 3 and return 2 cards from your hand back on the top or bottom of your deck in any order. So the reason I run Nami in high quantity is just because, yeah, again, we mentioned we run the 9-cost Sanji. I like getting value out of it. So we have both the Teach and this Nami to help set up the deck, top card of our deck to play the 9-cost Sanji. And I just realized maybe some of you guys don't know what he does, but we'll go over it in a couple cards, so sit tight. And it's a blocker regardless, so Nami is a good card in a Nami deck. 1 OP08 Jozu, 6-cost 7k power 1k counter. On play, you can return one of your characters other than this character to your hand, and then you bounce one of your opponent's 6-cost or less characters to their hand. So we do play a lot of cards early on that we would like to bounce back to our hand to counter in the late game, so namely like Hiyori, right? We can safely play her on 2, draw a card and potentially cycle a card out, or Zeus to kill something. They're stuck on board being like useless low power characters. You play Jozu, bounce it back to your hand, you can use them as 2k counters again. Even Nojiko, you bounce Nojiko back, bounce another 5-drop. On top of this Jozu bouncing a 6-drop. So yeah, just great utility for that. I'm only running it as a 1-of, just for some spice, but you can mess with the ratios if you want more Jozu, right? If you're waiting for Starter Deck 22 to finally release, but you want to play Nami like on day 1 of OP12, yeah, you can replace some of these Odins with this Jozu. That makes complete sense to me. For OP12, Bartholomew Kuma, 6-cost 7k power 1k counter. So the singular OP12 card added to the deck, but it's a strong one. It's great in any generic yellow deck that needs like a good card in the mid-range. So what it is on play is if you trash a card from your hand, you can heal a card from your deck to the top of your life, and then Kuma himself gains +2 costs until your opponent's next turn. And then on your opponent's turn on KO, if they kill Kuma, you also heal the same way. So you heal when he comes out and you heal when he dies. If he gets KO'd, right? You can bottom deck or trash him to bypass that, but in most cases, like through combat, if Kuma dies, you just heal another life, prolongs your staying power, your ability to defend yourself being a 7k base leader. So it makes Kuma kind of like a threat that people ignore, so you're getting that free 7k chunk in every turn. Can be a nice thing to combo out with the Sanji too. 2 Starter Deck 22 Kozuki Oden, 7-cost 8k power. If this character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effects, you may instead trash 2 cards from your hand. So he has built-in evasion, no cost needed to be paid besides trashing 2 cards, which you always have access to. Then activate main once per turn, you can rest 3 of your Dawn and return one of your other characters to your hand. You can set this character as active. So you can attack twice. Usually it's a steep cost to bounce another character back to your hand, but again, same with the Jozu, we're playing so many like small poopy guys out that we can just bounce back to our hand that we want to bounce back to our hand anyway. And that allows Odin to attack twice. This helps for going for game pretty handedly, right? Just being able to double any down that you attach onto him. Because like if you attach 2 down to him, it's 2000 power, but when you're attacking twice, it's plus 4000 power actually. So yeah, great at either trading against your opponent's characters or just like outright attacking their face. And with that built-in evasion, yeah, it's really hard to get rid of them. So just a welcome addition to deck. 1 OP11 Monkey D Luffy, 8 cost 8k power. So he has Rush, and then when attacking, you can trash 1 card from your hand, return up to 1 character with a cost of 4 or less to the owner's hand, and then give a rested Dawn to a leader or one of your characters. So this synergizes with Nami, right? Not only are you bouncing a 4-drop, but you get that Dawn on your leader, so you get rid of a blocker, you activate your leader ability when you're trying to defend. Also, it makes your leader a 6k swing too. And then Luffy himself can swing for 8 on the turn that you play him, so it's a really aggressive card. But again, we only run it as a 1 of. If you're wanting to fill in Odin, it's either the Jozu or the Snake Man Luffy I would replace him with. 3 OP10 Eustace Captain Kid, 8 cost 9k power. On play, if you rest this character, you trash up to one of your opponent's top life cards. So it just outright goes to the trash. It doesn't trigger, it doesn't go to their hand. Then at the end of the turn, if your opponent has 2 or less life cards, you can cycle a card from your hand. That means draw 1 and trash 1. So this helps potentially draw you better answers for the next turn, or at least give you a better hand to defend yourself with. Having multiple of these out help too. It stacks. For each of these kids out, you cycle 1 card. And yeah, it's just a strong card to play out, because since we're such a defensive deck, we need some way to get your opponent to lose life to go for game. Kid is a great way to do that. And again, we can always discard him to make our leader a 7k base too in the late game. And also a really great card to combo out with the Sanji. Right, you're playing 9 Dawn to play out 2 9k power characters. Oh yeah, speaking of, 4 OP06 Sanji, 9 cost 9k power. So on play, you reveal the top card of your deck, and then if it's a character with a cost of 9 or less that's not a Sanji character, you can play it out. So yeah, this is why I run the Namis and then the Teachers that we mentioned earlier. We're able to set up that top card of our deck, and it's just able to provide us 2 big bodies with the Sanji, right? The best targets being like any of these from Jozu onward. So if we need a heal, we have Kuma. If we need removal, we have Jozu. If we need a sticky body, we have Odin. Also aggression with Luffy, and then also aggression with Kid. So I like that. I like the fact that I can develop 2 big bodies, and then from that point on just worry about defending myself, while those 9k swings can put in some work every turn. That's kind of how Blue Purple Luffy plays, so I'm kind of adopting that kind of play style. And I figure with my leader ability, I'm drawing extra cards anyway, so it's like I'm a Blue Purple Luffy light in a sense. But yeah, I do know this is a controversial pick. Not many other people run Sanji, but I particularly like playing the deck this way. 2 OP04 Gum Gum Red Rock, 6 cost event on main. You just bottom deck a character on board no matter what cost. And then on trigger, bottom deck's a 4-drop. So this is something great to play. Like after you develop the Sanji into a Kid, you're worrying about controlling your opponent's board and defending yourself. This is where you can Red Rock, clear 1 of their threats while you develop 2 of your own. And then you still have 4 Dawn left for the turn. You can put Dawn on leader to make yourself a 7k later on, play some chump blockers, or even like play Noji Ghost to disrupt your opponent. 2 OP06 Gravity Blade Raging Tiger, 7 cost event. So what this one does is you can bottom deck 2 of your opponent's 6 cost or less characters, and on trigger it bottom decks a 5-drop. So similar to the Red Rock, except this is more wide. It hits 2 things. It costs 1 more too. Yeah, just a tech removal option. This is especially good into a lot of the green decks in OP12, namely like Zoro decks that play like Smoker, Tashigi, Cavendish, stuff like that. This Gravity Blade can bottom deck both a Cavendish and a Tashigi for you. So it's specifically for that matchup if you're not encountering too much green, which I would be surprised if you're not, because I think Zoro is going to be like the new hotness. You could reduce the ratio of this, but I think 2 is a good number. Good, clean, consistent, even number here. So the price of the deck as of like late July, before OP12 has released, is $130. The cards that we don't have prices for are Kuma and then the starter deck Odin. But not too much of an expensive deck. It is, I would say, kind of off meta, near the top of off meta, right? It's not like consistently showing up in every tournament, but it's not a weak deck by any regard. So if you want to invest in this deck, again, this deck only gets better as new blue and yellow cards get released. Eventually there will be one that's so broken that Nami will be meta relevant, I feel. It's only a matter of time. So I think it's always nice to have Nami in your back pocket. And if you wanted to buy these cards via my deck builder, which I'll have a link to this deck builder in my description below, filled out with this deck list here. Each of the shopping cart links that are on screen here should take you to the cheapest version of each card on TCG Player after you click the show prices button up here. I just noticed that mouse cursor doesn't show up on OBS. Interesting. But yeah, also for your convenience, there's a mass entry button here. If you click it, it copies the entire deck to your clipboard. Use Control V into their mass entry form, add the entire deck to your cart. 1 click, you have the whole deck you can just buy outright. All of these ways to buy it go through my affiliate link. So if you wanted to support me in a very passive way, and if you're going to buy these cards anyway, this is a great way to help me. So yeah, I would appreciate it if you did that. And we'll move on to the starting hands. So for the starting hand, you want to keep these cards if you can. So Hiyori is nice to cycle out early and draw you cards. Setting up a Teach early is great for late game when you're trying to set up your Sanjis. Otherwise, you just try to disrupt your opponent. Nojiko to bounce stuff back to hand, Zeus to pop something, and then play Pudding to disrupt their hand early if they're not respecting your Pudding. And you got like Nojiko's off to bounce stuff back to their hand and they're taking your life hits. Hit him with the Pudding, make them lose 3 cards or something. Cavendish is also a really great early play to draw you cards every turn that he's still alive. And we'll move on to the card options. So for card options, just due to the nature of the deck, as I mentioned, it's like a good stuff blue and yellow deck. There's a bunch of options you can try out to make your Nami list special. So here are some that you can consider. So I've seen people run like the Wano package in Nami with the Yamato Searcher, just because we run Hiyori anyway. So on top of that, they beef it up with Kikunojo as a trigger body that you can set up with Hiyori. And sometimes you just get her out for free if she happens to be in your life. And then on top of this, they also run the 5-cost Momo to heal with these cards, right? It turns any of your Wano type cards on board into a card that you can heal with, and he's a blocker too. They also run the Rush Momonosuke from Surge Deck 28. I've also seen people run Boa Hancock in the 6-drop slot. It freezes a character from attacking you and bottom decks a 1-drop. Also, this Law, Promo Law, it just makes your opponent take a life card to their hand. It doesn't trash it, so it's a little worse in that regard, but it's like a guaranteed take that your opponent has to take. On top of 8-cost Kid, they also run the Robin sometimes. If your opponent has 3 or more life cards, they trash 1 card from the top of their life. So this one actually goes to the trash, unlike the Law. And then if you want to run more 2k counters or even different 2k counters, you can consider Bedge. It's a great yellow one that just on trigger makes one of your opponent's leaders or characters not able to attack. There's also Satori, who just can trigger out if you discard a card to attack your opponent. What else is there? Oh yeah, we mentioned the Shoujo, the young girl. Now for my particular list, since I'm heavily dependent on the 9-cost Sanji strategy, I kind of favor the Teach, being able to put a card back on top of my deck. But if you're not running 9-cost Sanji, I would consider Young Girl instead. It's a lot better without needing that life, if you don't need that deck manipulation part, right? Because it always gives you that Rested Dawn to put on your leader for your leader ability. And Nami's in the card too itself. The only thing is we don't actually know when we're going to get this card or how we're going to get this card. It could come in August, could come in September, it could come way later, it could come in like some specific product that is hard to get. So I don't want to rely on getting used to this card, but I guess I'll leave in the comments below a pinned comment if it does change in the future, if we like find out that everyone's going to get this card really easily. But for now, yeah, I'm just not wanting to depend on how Bandai is going to release this card to base my practice with this deck on. And lastly, we have Gum Gum Fire Fist Pistol Red Hawk. It's a yellow event. It's versatile in that for 1 Dawn, you can counter for 3k on your leader only, or if you spend 3 Dawn on top of the 1 that you pay, you can just KO a 5-cost, base cost character. If you and your opponent have 5 or more life cards added together. So great for removal or great for defense. Or if you have no Dawn up and you have a Dawn on leader, you can just chuck this to make your leader a 7k. So yeah, those are the options that I would consider. Let's take a look at the curve of the deck. So for the curve, I'll show the going second curve here for illustration purposes. So going second, 2 Dawn turn, would be nice to play a Teach out to set up for a future turn, or even just put Dawn on your leader until you get to your late game. And then it goes to your 4 Dawn turn. At this point, you could put 2 Dawn on your leader with the Teach to counter for 7k if you need to, but I like to take like a life hit in the early game if I feel safe enough to do it. So 4 Dawn turn, best card would be Cavendish if you can. And at this point, you could use Teach. So put 2 Rested Dawn onto your leader, and then put 1 card in your hand back on the top of your deck. Next turn, or if you swing 7, you draw it back anyway. So let's say we did that. And then it goes to our 6 Dawn turn here. So here's where it kind of opens up. There's a bunch of options. If your opponent has like a juicy character that you want to bounce back to their hand, it would be a nice time to do like a Nojiko. Where'd it go? Nojiko to bounce back their 5-drop or less, and then play a Pudding to make them shuffle their hand and draw a new hand of 5. Then you could attack with Cavendish for 6, and then you can use Teach's effect, make your leader attack for 7. But if your opponent has like no threats on board, here's would be a good time to play like a Kuma or something. Like Kuma, discard a card, heal a life, go back up to 4 or something. And then it passes to your 8 Dawn turn. Also a very flexible turn. So if you have an 8-cost Kid, yeah, it makes perfect sense to just drop it here. You drop it, your opponent has to trash a life, you draw a card after that from your leader ability. Or if you want to go for value, like let's say you have a Sanji and then you have this Kid in your hand that you want to play out. You can play Nami here, and then you'll draw 3 cards and then put 2 cards back on top of your deck in a way that the next card that you're going to put is the one that you're going to draw, and then the card after that is the one that you're going to cheat out with Sanji. So do be aware of that. The order matters. But one caveat first is before you play Nami, do attack with your Cavendish first and then your leader if you need to. Because your Cavendish will draw you cards, and then your Nami Leader ability will draw you a card too. So if you can, get these attacks off first. But no big deal if you don't, because on the next turn, like let's say we did happen to draw these cards back on your 10 Dawn turn, you can just use Teach to put Kid on top of your deck, and then you'll play Sanji, play him out. And yeah, you don't get access to the 2 rested Dawn from the Teach, but it's well worth it to get this Kid out. Tap him, your opponent takes a life, and then you have all these attackers to attack with. And you would actually have 1 Dawn active at this point, so despite the Teach putting Dawn on your leader, despite not having that effect, you can still put Dawn normally onto your leader after that to activate your leader ability. So that's the curve I like going second. So move on to the matchup section. So here's Nami's matchups in the last week of Eastern private games. There's only 1,000 games to pull from, so Nami is not a highly played leader at all. And people aren't playing the East too much at the moment either. But yeah, here are her stats for private games, which include mostly ranked games. She has a 49.50% win rate going first on average and a 52.2% win rate going second on average, giving her a raw win rate of 50.88, weighted to 46 just due to her low play rate. Here are the decks that she's good against. So good against Green Yellow Law, Teach, Green Purple Luffy, good into Rayleigh too, that's relevant. Does pretty good into Buggy going first. Now the decks that she loses against is Zoro, which is going to be a very highly played leader, unfortunately. Piss Kid too, also going to be quite popular. Kuzan as well. So these are 3 matchups that are kind of unfortunate for her. But where she shines is that she kind of has like flip-flop matchups into Blue Purple Luffy, which is like going to be the most played deck in the meta. She does better going first against him, does better going first against Bonnie too. And that brings our Blue Yellow Nami deck breakdown to a close here. So what do you guys think of my deck? I know the comments are going to be pretty divisive on this one, just because you can run pretty much any blue and yellow card into Blue Yellow Nami, just because that's the nature of her deck. Her leader ability is very generic. So people are going to be arguing about which is the best card for sure. But if you guys have any spicy tech of your own, feel free to share it in the comments below. Discuss it with the other Blue Yellow Nami players here. And if you're a new viewer or if you're new to the game in general, yeah, check out my channel. Subscribe to my channel. I do a bunch of other deck breakdowns and a bunch of gameplay videos, analysis videos, just a large variety of stuff. And I hope this video helped you get an idea of how to play Blue Yellow Nami in OP12, at least my way. And then let me know how it does for you guys, and I guess we'll move on to the gameplay portion. Alright, we have a Blue Yellow Nami matchup here against Zoro, which could potentially be our worst matchup, but we'll just try to see if running the 9-cost Hanji will help me in any regards, compared to a conventional Blue Yellow Nami deck. So red rocks aren't going to help me too much here, but I can always chuck them to be a 2k counter later. I'm keeping this hand just because I think putting is going to be nice against them, so we'll throw a law out and put it on leader just in case we need a counter, but I don't think we do. Maybe we will. If he throws an 8 we won't, but if he throws like a 6 we could just chuck a red rock. Okay, so he plays Hiyori to search. We could see that 6. We could see that red rock chuck. So I'm kind of devaluing the worth of my blocker law in this particular matchup just because you can always tap it with a bunch of cards in his deck. So we will use red rock to counter. So I might just swing with the law to kill the Hiyori, just so that I can still pressure his leader with my leader. So we'll play our Hiyori, take top life, it's another Hiyori. We'll put non-counter back on top, and then we'll draw a card from our leader ability. Okay, Odin is nice. So we need at least 1 down on our leader, in case we need the leader ability. So I guess that leaves us with 2k with this blocker law into Hiyori. Then we'll do 6 at leader. I think he will take this. Yep, we'll pass. So next turn, I guess if I have nothing else better, I just play Kuma. Okay, they do play a smoker. I think it would be a good idea to just red rock that guy. Okay, 6 at my blocker, but since he doesn't have 3 on leader, he cannot untap, so I turn my blocker law into a 2k counter there. So we'll red rock and just swing 5. I don't want to deal with the freaking smoker, because every turn, smoker can attack me even through my leader ability. And I haven't had a chance to put down on leader just yet. I might be able to next turn if I do like an Odin and down on leader. But yeah, I just don't want to play any small characters out, just because he has really easy ways to tap him and kill him. So my 4-drops, I want to avoid playing them. 9 at us will take. Okay, he's going to attack us twice for 9 with the restand event. Right, so the Cavendish and the Puddings, they would have just died if I played them out. So I think using them to protect my beefier bodies is the right choice here. We do get a bunch of cards like Sanji and 8-cost Kid. But we'll do 6 in the leader and play the Odin for now. Right, he shouldn't have a way to rest a 7-drop unless he plays like Hody. But if he plays a Hody, he can't threaten my Odin, because I can counter out of it. I guess Dead Man's Game let him do that. That would mean he can attack like 10k. Okay, so he does play Mihawk instead. He still has 5 down to work with. We could see like a 10k at us. I don't think I want to be at 1 life against him in case he has a bunch more of those restand events. But he's throwing just a 9. Yeah, I do think I have to counter this, so we will. Leader ability. Our useless Cavendish in this matchup and then counter out of it. Okay, Gravity Blade's not going to help me. If I had my teacher or like a blocker Nami, I can set this up pretty nicely, but I might just have to like play out the kid here. So we'll throw 6 at leader. See what he does. If he blocks with the Mihawk, I just kill the Mihawk with the Odin instead. He took it. Okay, we'll draw a card. Nojiko doesn't help me here. We'll swing with Odin here for 8. This should have been a 9 actually, but he took it anyway. Then we'll bounce Hyordi back to our hand, swing again with Odin. Okay, he blocks this time. I guess I'll heal with the Kuma. Right, I have another 2k in my hand this time. Oh, he had a Paradise Waterfall. Why didn't he use it the first time? Okay, so we will heal, discarding the Gravity Blade. I have done on my leader. I just have to protect my Odin. I don't think he's going to go for my face. Right, 7k versus the Odin's 8k. It's not too much of a difference. You just play Hyordi. That's 2 less down. I have to worry about hitting me and defending. Cavendish out. I can always bounce it back to hand with the Nojiko. Yeah, sometimes I feel like, do you want to Hyordi? That's 2 less down that you can double attack with. So he does 10 at my Odin. I will counter 3. I was hoping to keep the pudding to get rid of his like dead man's game in the late game, but oh well. 10 at us, we'll take that. If he attacks with Mihawk, I don't have the defense, but he doesn't. Okay. Maybe he's worried about dying too if he attacks with the Mihawk. So we'll bounce Cavendish back to hand with the Nojiko. I guess I heal. So we'll do 6 at Nojiko. I have to put down on my leader anyway, so it's overkill. Yeah, I know. I guess we could do 8 with Kuma. Yeah, 8 with Kuma. Maybe I don't swing with my Odin. We'll do 7 then. If he blocks with Mihawk, then I kill Mihawk with the Odin instead. And that's when I need more Dawn. Okay, he counters that. He didn't block. Okay, I guess we'll Kuma. And then discard a card. Yeah, he's prioritizing keeping his Mihawk alive, and I'm prioritizing keeping my Odin alive. So I don't want to swing with him yet because I have no counter. I want to swing with him when I can go for game, I think, or at least like kill stuff. Now at 3 life, am I safe? He used one of the restand events. He could only have 3 more. If he has 2 in his hand, that doesn't kill me. Okay, he's going 8 at my face. So what the heck? I guess, yeah, killing Kuma would heal me, so he has to go for my face. Now, will he attack with the Mihawk? If he does, that means he's going to go all in. Okay, he restands. That's 2 gone. Does he actually have 1 more? Well, leader ability does encounter 2, so I have no way of dying. Okay, he does play Koshido. Okay, not committing to it. So he's only got 1 left? No, he's got 2 left. We do 7 at lead. I mean, what are the chances he has it though? Okay, he finally blocks with the Mihawk. Can I kill Mihawk with my Odin though, behind the 2 Koshidos? Huh. Swing 7 at face, maybe I can go for game. So if he blocks with the Koshido, I just bounce the other one with the Nojiko. Then I have leader and 2 Odin hits. Oh, he took the 7, okay. We'll draw. I can still do what I intended, right? So if Odin attacks and he blocks, so I do want to force him to block. Right, that's better than playing the A-cost kid because I can't get rid of the blockers that way. So if he blocks 1 Koshido, that's when I bounce. If not, then I play Nami blocker. Okay, he blocks. So we'll untap, bounce Nojiko, play Nojiko, bounce Koshido. And then 8-10 or 9-9? We'll go 8, and then if he can defend this, then I play Nami. I sub an out. If he takes this, I go all in. Maybe he's baiting me to go all in, but no Dawn up. I give him 1k counter. Okay, he does counter. Maybe I can kill the Mihawk instead. 10 at Mihawk. Kind of a gamble here, actually, but okay, we got it. Huh. So I have 4k counter in my hand. He has some kind of non-counter, right? If Mihawk died. Does he really have 2 more of the restand event in his hand? 9 at me. I guess we'll take 1. Okay, I get counter. So there's no way I lose then, right? Restand. 9. He really does have all 4. Okay, yeah, he did. We'll leader ability and then counter with our entire hand. And we should have game here. We managed to clutch it. Whoa! Okay, blue yellow Nami versus blue Kuzan. Ooh, pudding's gonna be really good against this guy. So I'm gonna keep my double pudding hand. Let's see how many cards I can get him to lose. Editor put a pudding counter on screen. We'll play 2 law blockers to start. He plays a Tashigi to found a Kuzan. So that's coming. 5S will take Gravity Blade, trigger on that thing I want to hit. Great. Sengoku, okay. Draw more cards. Perfect. That's exactly what I want. Noji goes 2. It's 2 perfect. But I think I'll just swing 9, get him to take for sure. He does take for sure. Oh, he got a red rock trigger. Dang it. You're supposed to have more cards in hand. But he did get rid of one of my blockers. So 5. Well, he has nothing for 5, right? Unless he plays Echo Zephyr. You saw he ran the Django, so he probably doesn't run Virgo. Okay, another Sengoku. More cards for me to pudding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ooh, 9 cards. Juicy, juicy. 5 at us. We'll counter that. Gravity Blade's not going to do much for me in this matchup. Okay, we hit him with the pudding. Do I want to get rid of one of the Sengokus too? No, we're just putting here. We'll do 7 at face. He lost so many cards, and then we'll draw a card after he took. Okay, Cavendish out. 7 at us. I guess I might as well block with the law now. We'll play Nojiko bounce Cavendish. Putting him again. We'll do 5 with pudding. I think we hit like 8 cards now. Pretty devastating, right? Okay, he took a 5. How about a 6? Counter 2. Oh, he pudding me! Oh my god. Okay, 4 at my pudding. We got pudding power. 5 at my 5. I might as well counter with the law. Okay, plays a Cavendish. He happened to draw 1 into 1 again. I think we're getting him to not play his admirals just because we're getting him to shuffle his deck so much. Or shuffle his hand. So we're evading a really strong guard play from him. So he countered that while putting into the Sengoku here. Well, Kuma. And discard our pudding because I don't think we're going to pudding anymore at this point. Ooh, Sakazuki. Putting in my pudding. We got pudding power. Okay, 7 at me with Cavendish. I guess I'll take. Ooh, Odin. 6 with leader. I don't have leader ability, so I might have to use my Zeus, or should I just take it? I just take it. 8 cost kid would be good. We'll throw 6 at face. Let's get rid of the Odin. I think it's too late for that. Odin. Kuma 7. If he takes, oh, he pheasant pecked. So I will attack 7k and then play the kid, get him to 0. I just have to not die. Or should I go for a character? Let's go for face. I just have to not die. Should be easy, right? Make myself a 7k base. He takes. Okay, we'll play a kid out. Trash and pass. Even cycle into a non-counter. So I can trash the kid and I still have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7k counter. Okay, plays a Tashigi Searcher. What is he even looking for? Maynard? Maynard blocker. 6 at my 6. Okay, he's not going for game. Going for my characters. I think I should just defend him if I can. So we'll counter 1k. 8 at him. We will counter 3. If he plays like a Garp, you can only commit 1 Dawn to leader. Oh, he needs to play a blocker. He plays a Kuzan to freeze my kid. Then Maynard, and he still has 6k, which I will counter. And then I just Zeus the Maynard and go for game. What else can he do? Oh, Kuzan puts... Oh no, the Sakazuki put down on leader. So you can still have Pheasant Peck. 1 down for Pheasant Peck. 6 at my 6. I will counter 1 or 2. We'll counter 2 in case I need a heal. Play Maynard. No, wait, I should have just played the Zeus. That was my original plan. So I kind of balls that up, but we'll see what happens here. 6 at face. That was my bad. Zeus would have been guaranteed, right? I don't know why I thought I could stall another turn with the Kuma instead. Okay, so he does. Peasant Peck. Here's a 7 from my Cavendish. Hopefully it doesn't matter in the end. 8 blocks. Okay, I guess it didn't matter in the end. So we're going to go all in with the Kuma here. And yeah, he just concedes. Okay, Nami versus Rayleigh. Nami versus Rayleigh. I would assume I'm good against him just because I can make myself a 7k base, but we'll have to see. Okay, he plays Obs Hockey just to draw. I will play Hiyori. Do some cycling. Put the kid on top so I can draw him again. If I can hit him with the pudding, this would be a pretty good hand to do it. Okay, Nami. But I don't want to bounce like freaking Namis and stuff back to hand. Is that worth? Well, if I draw a Cavendish or something, I'll do that instead. 7 at us will take. Oh, okay, we draw a Cavendish. Don't mind if I do. 5 at the Rayleigh. You take. Cavendish. Pass. Next turn I can Jozu. He does have a fat hand that I want to pudding. Fat what the F. Okay, they play the 4-cost Luffy. Oh, if he's gonna play 2 things out though. Okay, yeah, I don't want to pudding that hand anymore. Okay, and buffs the Nami to 6k. Which sucks because I don't have a 2k in hand. So I'm gonna have to counter. Oh, sorry, that's a 5, not a 6. 5 from leader. We can part ways with 1 Nojiko. I think Jozu would be the better play here. Because Nojiko pudding would just make 2 cards go away. So 5 at the Nami. Just says he can always turn it into a 5k. That's annoying. Oh, he save it. And let it die. He just wants to play around my pudding, I guess. That's fine. I wasn't going to pudding anyway. 5 at leader. I don't need 2 kids, do I? Okay, he armaments that. With Jozu bounce, he already bounced the Sanji, right? Sanji can be a bigger attack. Oh no, wait, it's the same either way. They're both 6ks. And they both can become 8ks. Maybe Luffy would have allowed him to play out more characters though, right? So maybe that was the best target anyway. So they more pistoled my Jozu, that's not nice. And make the Luffy an 8. 8 at my Cabby. I will save him. Draw me more cards, Cabby. 7 at him. Here's another 2k. Now draw me more 2ks to replace that. Do I want to red rock that guy? Doesn't seem worth it. Does it? Let's swing with the Cavendish first, see what happens. He countered with the Sanji. I guess we kid. No, let's swing 5 at leader. Then we kid. I haven't had a chance to put down on leader though, so I've been taking a lot of hits. Or like... No, he attacked my Cavendish last turn, but... So kid makes him trash alive. We'll discard red rock here. But yeah, I said I'd be good against Rayleigh just because of my leader ability, but I haven't had a chance to use my leader ability. Shakuyaku finds them... Conquers Hockey, and then they leader ability. So Luffy's at 8. 8 at my Cav, we'll let him die this time. You want to hit my face? 7? Yeah, he does. We'll take... Ooh, Gravity Blade trigger. Okay, that gets rid of Luffy. It didn't have to deal with him at all. Plays a blocker, chopper out. I could blind Sanji. We'll swing with the kid, see what happens. Pretty sure it's 2 Dawn for the Conqueror's Hockey. Yep, there's 1 conch. Another one to counter to 8 to 9. Armament, okay. So you still gotta have 1 more. Blind Sanji seems pretty good. We just red rock the chopper. And then we'll do 6, and then we'll just develop a teach to set up for a Sanji if we need to, I guess. We'll take that time to play teacher. So if I did blind, I would have hit a Luffy, which would have won me the game, I think, but no need to gamble, right? I was thinking of using the teach to put 2 more down on my leader, but I didn't have a good, like, Sanji target. I just happened to draw into one, so luckily, for me, increasing my chances of doing it. Right, because if I put a card on top of my deck, I wouldn't have gotten this Luffy. Okay, so he does Boa, and then found a Mulgun, and then 2 down on leader. Does Mulgun save him here? Play Zoro, he needs to put a Dawn if he wants to KO. But he doesn't have enough cost reduction, right? But he has a 6k. Mole Pistol makes my kid at 3k. If he had 1k more power reduction, that would have got him. But I guess he just swings like 7 at him. Oh, he's a 4k. Thought he was 3. Let him die. 6 in my face. Will leader ability. Okay, we will teach here just for style points. Put the Luffy on top. Then we'll play the Sanji out. Play him bout. Play him bout. Do 6 at Rayleigh. Oh wait, Luffy can put Dawn on later. I forgot about that part. This should have been a 7. Counter 2. Whoops. We bounce the Zoro back to hand. That would make him have to spend 3 Dawn again. So we'll do that. I guess if I wanted to be safe, I should have put the Dawn on the Luffy. Just to make it a 9. But he goes to 0. I'm just talking about my optimizations post misclick so that you guys can learn from it. Hope it's appreciated. Okay, leader ability is the Shakuyaku. Plays the Zoro out. If I make myself a 7k base, okay, he throws a 7 to get around that. But we will discard Nojiko and then counter 1. In case he plays a blocker, we'll keep a Nojiko. He can throw like 2 more 7s, that's all he can do. And I have 2 life, so there's no way I die. 7 will take. Leader 7 I counter, if it matters. And he concedes. Okay, bye.
Card D Kaizoku.